What is the primary purpose of an Azure subscription? It serves as a method to pay for the resources you consume and acts as a billing and security boundary. The hierarchical structure of Azure's core architectural components, from broadest to most specific, is management groups, subscriptions, desks, and resources. Resource groups. What is a key factor to consider when choosing an Azure region to reduce network delays for end users? You should choose a region that is physically closer to your users to reduce latency. Pair. Two regions in the same geography, typically at least 300 miles apart, used to provide higher availability in case of an outage in the primary region. Besides latency, what is another critical reason for choosing a specific Azure region, often related to legal requirements? Data residency, legislation, or compliance standards that require data to be stored in a specific geographical location. What must all Azure resources, such as virtual machines or virtual networks, be placed within? A resource group. If an organization needs separate builds for its development, testing, and production environments, what is the simplest way to achieve this in Azure? Create a separate subscription for each environment: dev, test, production. Term: Azure free subscription. A trial subscription that provides a $200 credit to be used within the first 30 days. One subscription is typically used by individuals for production resources and follows a monthly payment plan based on consumption. A pay-as-you-go subscription. For small to medium-sized organizations, subscriptions are often acquired through a partner known as a DES, Cloud Solution Provider (CSP). What type of subscription is designed for large organizations that have a pre-committed spending amount with Microsoft? An enterprise agreement subscription, EA-based subscription. What is the primary function of Azure management groups? To manage policies, access, and compliance across multiple subscriptions efficiently. By default, all new subscriptions are placed under the top-level task management group, root management group. What is the maximum depth of the hierarchy for creating sub-management groups, not including the root level? You can go down 6 levels deep. Policies or rules applied to a management group are automatically dealt by all subscriptions and resources underneath it. Inherited. What is the primary limitation of an Azure resource group regarding its name? Once a resource group is created, it cannot be renamed. Is it possible to create a resource group inside of another resource group? No, nesting of resource groups is not allowed. What happens to the resources inside a resource group when the resource group itself is deleted? All resources contained within the resource group are automatically deallocated and deleted. Can resources within a single resource group be located in different Azure regions? Yes, a resource group can contain resources from multiple different regions. What feature allows you to label Azure resources with key value pairs for organization, filtering, and billing purposes? Tags. What Azure feature can be used to prevent the accidental deletion or modification of critical resources. Resource locks. What are the two types of resource locks available in Azure? Read-only and delete. What is the effect of applying a delete lock to an Azure resource group? Authorized users can still read and modify resources, but they cannot delete the resource group or its resources. If a read-only lock is applied to a resource, can an authorized user modify or delete it? No, a read-only lock prevents both modification and deletion of the resource. At which three levels in the Azure hierarchy can resource locks be applied? At the subscription, resource group, and individual resource level. At which level of the Azure hierarchy can resource locks not be applied? Management groups. What Azure service provides recommendations for cost savings, performance, and security? Azure Advisor. To help manage spending, you can create desks in Azure to get notified when costs approach a specified amount. Budgets and costs. A cost-saving option that offers up to 72% discount for committing to use a resource for 1 or 3 years is known as a resort instance. What program allows you to use existing on-premises Windows Server or SQL Server licenses in the cloud to save on costs? Azure Hybrid Benefits. In the Azure portal, where can you find the specific limitations and service quotas for your subscription? Under the Users Plus Quotas blade within the subscription settings. Data transfer Azure is free in most, while data transfer of Azure typically incurs a cost. Into ingress and outgress. An Azure test provides a logical container for grouping related resources for an application or project. Resource group. How does Azure define a resource? It is any manageable item in Azure such as a virtual machine, storage account, virtual network, or web app. True or false? A user who has access to one subscription can automatically manage resources in another subscription within the same account. False. Subscriptions create a security boundary and access must be explicitly granted for each subscription. The Azure Student subscription provides users dash credit for dash months, $100 credit for 12 months, each month $100. What is the maximum number of objects like subscriptions or management groups that can be contained within a single management group hierarchy? 10,000 objects. In the Azure portal's cost management plus billing section, what does the cost analysis tool allow you to do? It allows you to view and analyze your Azure costs with options to filter by service, location, resource group, or tags. What are the 4 key pieces of information typically required when creating any new resource in the Azure portal? The subscription resource group, a name for the resource, and the region. Azure has more than dash regions spread across dash countries. 60 regions spread over 140 countries. What is the purpose of an availability zone within Azure region? They are physically separate data centers within a region, providing high availability to protect applications from data center failures. If a user requires multiple distinct builds for different departments, they should be given multiple desk subscriptions. The best practice for managing resources that share the same life cycle, for example for a specific project, is to place them in the same desk resource group.